Hi, I'm Ray Hagar with the Reno Gazette-Journal, and this is an all-new edition of Nevada Newsmakers. Today we're going to talk about the impending lack of competition in Las Vegas journalism and a brouhaha brewing in Carson City. Scott Craigie's got the rundown.
Crack political reporter Erin Neff from the Las Vegas Review-Journal today has a story she's going to talk about that's going to change the dynamic of the entire general election next year. That's a great story, and she's going to give us the insight. In addition, an assemblyman who coined the phrase that Nevada is East California is going to be here today to talk about politics in the Capital District, a district that has elected a relatively conservative Republican, right afterwards a relatively liberal Democrat. It'll be interesting to see his take on how all of that happens.
And coming up on today's pundit panel, we have Liz MacMenamin and Pam duPre, so let's roll on an all-new edition of Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Corporations moving to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center require reliable power, fiber optic communication, and clean water sources. And yet, there's another amenity we're very proud of here at TRI, rail service. So far, we've built over 2 miles of railroad track, and another 3.6 is under construction. When companies need to transport freight, we're going to help them move it quickly and efficiently. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
You are watching Nevada Newsmakers.
Hey, I'm Ray Hagar with the Reno Gazette-Journal, along with Scott Craigie. We have on the phone Erin Neff, reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Welcome, Erin. How you doing?
I'm doing great, gentlemen. Nice to be with you.
Erin, one thing I want to start out with is that you know the Las Vegas Sun's demise is pending. What is this going to do to the competitive nature of journalism in Las Vegas? You know, you've worked for both newspapers. You know that each staff competes with each other, try to get stories in the paper before the other guy does. Now that you don't have that anymore, what are you going to hold stories at the Las Vegas Review-Journal? Are you going to keep them out of the print until you get more depth, more texture? Are you going to run with them like you always have?
Well, I have to say first and foremost, it is a sad day for journalism when you lose a voice in a community. Now, that said, it does not mean the Review-Journal is not going to still have a competitive nature about it. We compete with 4 television stations on a routine basis, certainly not the same type of competition, but we are in a competitive business, and frankly, Las Vegas is the kind of place that makes national news so frequently that we often find ourselves competing with the LA Times and with other national publications. So, no, we don't hold stories. We get things into the paper as best as we can with the best attainable truth on a daily basis.
Well, you know, Competing against TV is, believe me, I've worked in both markets, 2 newspapers in one, and Erin, you're going to find it's a lot different. Scott?
Sure. I meant to say we don't lack a competitive spirit. We're in a very competitive news town, and I don't mean to say that we can compete with television, which has, as you well know, 5, 6, 7 deadlines a day, and the ability to break into programming. We have the ability to send email messages if there's breaking news or to update our website. It's a totally different game. But with the Sun merger set to take effect, I believe, October 1st, the people of Las Vegas will essentially have 2 newspapers wrapped into one, although the Sun will give up its daily news gathering responsibilities and focus more on commentary. As best I can tell, that's their game plan.
Okay.
Erin, you broke a story today that is going to be actually have a dramatic impact on the entire election cycle next year. Richard Perkins got a ruling that got him out from underneath the Hatch Act problem. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, the Hatch Act is this obscure law that initially was designed to protect people from bosses in the federal government who might be forcing them into political activity, forcing them into unions, forcing them out of unions, forcing them to donate to a campaign or something. Over the past 60 years or so, this law has been interpreted to mean that a public employee who oversees some types of federal monies cannot participate in partisan politics. So Mr. Perkins, who serves as a deputy police chief in Henderson, was accused of violating this law when he ran for re-election to the Assembly a few years ago. And this office in Washington, called the Office of Special Counsel, which is charged with overseeing the Hatch Act, found that, in fact, he was in violation. Perkins appealed and went through this lengthy discovery process before the Merit Systems Protection Board back in Washington, and finally got a ruling yesterday from an administrative law judge that he was in the clear. Really briefly, the judge said just because he's a police chief, a deputy police chief, does not mean he necessarily oversees federal monies or federal programs. Just because he is in a supervisory position, it does not mean he's hands-on in any way. The judge also said the city set up a very good compliance program to keep Perkins away from anything federal and to keep the city and its police department on the up and up.
Well, it's a good story, and of course now what it does, it opens up this whole new race, and you've got Perkins, Lieutenant Governor Hunt, Congressman Gibbons, Mayor Jim Gibson, Dina Titus, and possibly Jim Rogers. This is going to be one of the big. I can't remember how far back we'd have to go. We've had this many hot races all at once, hot candidates in a single race for governor. It's going to be a huge race. What are you going to do? How are you going to cover it all?
Well, it's going to be fun.
I know.
Come on, guys. That's what reporters live for. We live for special sessions of the legislature and contested elections. We don't like, to use a good example, Congressional District 2 has been a big snooze for us for years.
Is there going to be overload? Is there going to be way too much money spent? Is it? It's going to be a huge contest.
Look, this is going to be the most expensive governor's race in the state's history, without a doubt. You're going to have a highly, highly nasty and noisy Democratic primary between Richard Perkins, who will announce his candidacy next Thursday, Dina Titus, who's already announced, and Mayor Jim Gibson of Henderson, who plans to announce his candidacy. These guys are going to spend upwards of $2 million tearing each other apart. And then you've got the dynamic on the Republican side with, as you mentioned, Lorraine Hunt, the lieutenant governor, Congressman Jim Gibbons, State Senator Bob Beers running alongside this tax and spending cutting measure. So you're going to have some real dynamics with fiscal conservatives in that race. And, Gibbons is going to have all the money. He's going to have the most money of the Republicans, but the other guys might launch pretty decent grassroots campaigns, and you never know what's going to happen with the mood of the country being as it is. With the Bush administration's numbers so low, you don't really know if that's going to actually impact Jim Gibbons. He is the congressman. He is a part of this administration in a sense, and it might actually bode well for a grassroots campaign.
Erin, thank you for being with us today. That's all the time we have right now. We'll be right back with former Assemblyman Ron Connect. And go Syracuse, Erin.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
My family started this business 27 years ago. We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof.
Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Happy Hour at the Pepper Mill.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers with Scott and I today, former Assemblyman Ron Connect of the District 40 in Carson City. Ron, now, what I hear is that you might run again against Bonnie Parnell for the District 40 seat. After she beat you in the last election, you won it before then. So what are your plans on that?
Ray, Scott, I haven't made up my mind on that. I haven't ruled it in. I haven't ruled it out. The leader of an influential, very public-spirited group recently asked me to run for mayor or supervisor. Some other folks have asked me to run for the school board. Any number of folks have said you've got to go back and reclaim our assembly seat from the tax and spend crowd. I think those of us in politics, in punditry, in the press, we get too caught up in the electoral, the partisan, the horse race aspects of this, and we forget that what it's really all about is public service. That's what I've been focused on this year. That's what I'd really like to talk about. There are any number of things, helping the disadvantaged clients of Fish, helping the voc ed students at the high school, teaching at WNCC, the city anti-meth program. That's what I've been focused on. There will be plenty of time after the turn of the year to make a decision on what, if anything, to run for. But in the meantime, there's so much to do in real public service, and I think that's what we really ought to be focused on. That's what I've been trying to do.
Well, can't you, public service, you could do a lot more as an assemblyman or a school board member than you can Ron Connect Mr. Citizen, can't you?
Probably, but, and you sound like some of the folks who've asked me, would you please go back and reclaim our assembly seat? Would you run for mayor or the school board? I haven't ruled it out. I definitely haven't ruled it out. But I just think there's a time and place, and the time is next year. The election is still more than a year away, and I'll make up my mind after I talk with my wife, Kathy, and my friends, and decide what to do then.
Let's look back at one of the great lines, I think one of the greatest lines I've ever heard uttered from the state legislature, and boy, that takes in some territory. This, when you coined Nevada as East California.
Scott, can I correct one thing on that?
Hey, you can do whatever you want. You're a guest here.
Well, thank you. I said, I don't want Nevada to become East California.
Okay.
I wrote an article for our...
Actually, that's fair. That's true. That is how you stated it.
That's right. I wrote an article for the Nevada Appeal recently celebrating the joys of living in a small town, Carson City, and of family life there. And I gave up a California megalopolis and the ballet, the opera, the symphony, and all of that, and theater, to come here because I like it better, okay? And the whole point of that was, let's not let Nevada become East California. And that's what all my
So politically, let's go to political and policy. Can we? What does Nevada do to avoid achieving the moniker, earning the moniker of East California? How do we protect? How does the conservative Republican base that you do work with and do represent,
right?
What is that political agenda, and why is it that it has to be carried forward in order to avoid that?
Let me give you three things, Scott, that we need to do. The first two are some initiatives that we're going to be bringing to the ballot. These are initiatives aimed at reining in the state's excess taxes and spending on the one hand, reining in overregulation and the taking of private property from you to give it to Ray, for example. And the third one's a kind of a proactive thing. Let me tell you what I did specifically about that. Recently, as a Kiwanis Club member, and I'm very proud of that, Pat Mowry came from the high school to our Kiwanis Club and said, our voc ed for the handicapped, vocational ed for the handicapped program has been defunded by the feds. The Kiwanis Club generously reached in their pockets personally and coughed out $580 at lunch that day. Well, I was part of that, and I invited her to come. In addition to giving that noon, I said, come to the Republicans tonight. And so I challenged the Republicans as their chairman. I said, you all have to beat the Kiwanis Club. And they coughed out $720. We raised half the funds she needed, and the school then threw in the other half so that the vocational ed for the handicapped is now funded. That's an example of the third thing. We need a lot of voluntary efforts, and I've been spending my time trying to promote those kinds of things.
Ron, if you run against Bonnie Parnell, how do you beat her? Because she's got a lot of juice in the Assembly. I mean, she's the chair of the Assembly Education Committee. That's where your heart is in education. How do you beat that?
I've been doing a lot in education. As you know, I'm a teacher. I could go through any number of other initiatives.
Where do you teach?
I teach at
WNCC?
WNCC, with Western Nevada Community College. I teach economics, in addition to being a working economist for the state of Nevada, trying to protect consumers and promote the public interest. The way you beat her is you run a better campaign than I did. She outspent me over 2-to-1. As one letter writer said, she ran the dirtiest campaign in Carson City history. I can't do anything about those two things except try to raise more money, just ignore the distraction of what her party and what her biggest contributor will put out in the mail. I'm sure they would do it again. But I can raise more money, I can work harder, I can get more people energized than I did last time. I'll take the responsibility for the fact that we didn't win that campaign. And if I run again for anything, you know, I'll be knocking on more doors, raising more money, and working harder. The one thing I think I did right last time, and I'll do it again, is I'll talk to the issues very straight. But I could run a better campaign.
Okay, we got to cut it right there. Ron, thank you. I'll give you 8-to-5 odds you're going to run against Bonnie. We'll be right back with our Power Pundit panel after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
How long does it take to get to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park? Well, it's just 10 minutes east of Reno Spark on Highway 80, just minutes from the airport. And under construction is an interchange linking I-80 to TRI's 4-lane USA Parkway. And soon, this parkway will connect Interstate 80 to Highway 50. How far is the world's largest industrial center from your home? It's a lot closer than you think. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
Dave, I'm telling you, it's all in the follow-through.
Actually, Dave, it's all in the putting.
No matter how you swing, it's a classic opportunity to play for local organizations.
That's why we're teeing off in the Kess Classic at Wolf Run on September 15th. Our tournament will benefit Care Chest of Sierra Nevada, providing free medical supplies to those in need, and help our local Seroptimists support the community.
Hey, Dave, you've got the perfect score.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
You are watching Nevada Newsmakers.
Hey, welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. On our pundit panel today, joining Scott and I, Pam duPre of the Washoe County Democrats, Liz MacMenamin of the Retail Association of Nevada. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Actually, Sam wanted, when we opened up the pundit panel, to make sure that we let everyone in the audience know, and actually for those of you that are here, Pat Coward, who's been a frequent guest here and a good friend of all of ours, is in Washoe Med today. He had a blood clot, and he's okay. He's doing well. We wish him the best of luck. We are very concerned for him, and our prayers are with him, and just so that everybody knows, we're pulling for you. So,
God bless you, Pat.
Yep. Now we're going to talk politics and tear everyone else up, I guess.
Great.
Yeah, let's go.
5 people in the governor's race. This is going to be unprecedented in my, 25, 30 years in the state. We've never had one that's going to be this active and this hyper.
Well, I think it'll be good. There'll be a lot of great discussion. We're going to see who the candidates really are, not only in the words they say, but in how they treat each other, perhaps. And Erin Neff was right earlier. This is going to be a no-holds-barred, probably.
And I hope not to see a lot of mudslinging, and particularly in the Democrat primary. I'd like to, because both Dina and Richard I've worked with in the legislature, so yeah.
So that sounds like you want the Republicans just like going to
No, I don't think we're going to see the Republicans doing a lot of mudslinging. I would hope that they would have sense.
I hope everybody slings a lot of mud.
You want that, don't you, Ray?
I love controversy.
That would be interesting.
But Pam, what I want to ask you, if Mayor Jim Gibson is the Democratic candidate that come out of the primary, how do you differentiate between Jim Gibson and Jim Gibbons? It's BS and a BB.
It's a good question. I mean, just in normal conversation, I've already, made that mistake, and I, of all people, should know better. But I think that, that bridge will be crossed if we get there, and we'll figure out some way to distinguish the two. The candidates themselves, I'm sure, will figure out a way to. We may have to come up with some nicknames or something for them. That'll be fun as well.
That will be great.
I don't think you even want to open that door.
Do you think there's enough statewide recognition for him?
What I'm concerned about are the new voters that come to our state, that they will be confused because the only difference
and they come in droves.
They're both Jim. One has a BB in his name, one has a BS in his name, and they're going to be throwing out a lot of BS to confuse everybody. So.
That's good. Well, there'll have to be some way to distinguish between the two, I'm sure.
This is going to be a major defining year. We not only have all of these candidates for governor, and in the past, the governors that are elected usually go both terms. It's 8 years. So you have a growing conservative base in the state. And at the same time, you've got people that are feeling that we're not doing enough in Medicaid, not doing enough in public education, not doing enough in the university. And so it's going to define us on that level. In addition, we have these ballot questions, which came up in the last interview, where we're doing TASC or TABOR or whatever it is, spending caps, on top of, you know, what we've done.
Those are going to be
very incredible.
Those are going to be very divisive, and I think as a whole, Nevada voters tend to stay away from extreme positions, extreme candidates. I think we saw that in the last election. You know, the Ron Connect and others lost in their races, and I think that's you say the state is tending to more conservative, but yet Democrats gained in the state legislature. So I think that those ballot initiatives that are going to divide the population.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. Ron just sat right there at the table and said the reason he lost his race was his own fault. And the way he ran it.
I wouldn't expect Ron to say anything else.
Well, I happen to believe that piece. Now, Bonnie Parnell is quite a good candidate, and
Bonnie's an excellent member of the Assembly.
However, I don't think that that's quite fair to say that that was the reason why. It was because of extremism. I don't believe that at all.
Well, what is happening with the electorate, I think, is that it is becoming somewhat more polarized and more divided.
Right.
There are those in the Democrat side that feel very concerned we're not doing enough for seniors and in education, certainly, and other areas. At the same time, there are business leaders here who feel very frustrated about the growing taxes and on some level the concern that their needs as business people aren't being handled correctly. And people that are moving in here as retired folks, they're very conservative. So we are a state becoming more divided by, and this election season has the opportunity maybe to resolve it, but to make it worse.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kenny Gwynn is a Republican, and he's the one who came up with that tax proposal. So it's not just Democrats who are concerned about whether we're taking well enough care of our senior citizens and our mentally ill and our uninsured children in this state. I mean, those are issues that we should all share.
Have those issues.
Absolutely.
And they do share those same issues.
Well, you know, when you talk about a growing conservative base in our state, you have to remember that voter registration is almost 50-50 Democrat.
Yes, right.
So it's not a red state, it's not a green state, it's a
it's a battleground state.
It's a Nevada state. They have their own way of thinking about things here.
Nobody votes a party line in this state.
No.
Very independent electorate.
Yes,
so this should be interesting.
And so I do hope that the candidates in the gubernatorial race keep it relatively clean as possible, and let's talk about the issues and give the voters good reasons to vote for them.
And let's get it on. Let's get it on.
Let's have a news campaign. We'll be right back after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Monty Ranch Parkway.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Hey, thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers today. Tomorrow, we're going to have congressional candidate Sharon Ingle on. She's the Assemblywoman from Reno. Stay tuned. Thanks.